What is up, everybody? I'm Rachael Van Oranje, and I'd like to welcome you back to the Pickswise NFL Show and Week 4 of the NFL season. First and foremost, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, please give us a follow. We greatly appreciate it. And as always, I am joined by the wild man himself, the Jeff Reinebold. And I say wild man because I just discovered that Jeff has some really badass tattoos, like all over his arms. Really nice artwork. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good, girl. How are you?
I'm doing well. I didn't realize we were kindred spirits in the tattoo department. How did I not know this?
Hey, don't stop at my arms now. Those are Polynesian tattoos, and they're actually family tattoos. So they have a lot of personal meaning, but in Polynesia, in Hawaii and Samoa and all of Polynesia, tattoos are sacred things. So it's all good. I checked your ink out. I was checking it out. By the way, girl, the way, what is up with you dumping the Falcons and going to the Atlanta Braves for the playoffs?
I'm allowed to be fan of different sports. I'm not just a one-trick pony. My guys are starting the playoffs today. Look, I double dip a little bit in baseball. I'm an Astros fan, and I'm a Braves fan. And Astros pulled off a ninth inning upset yesterday, so I've got my Astros coffee cup right here. And then, Braves jersey for today. We're going to get it done, maybe. Or they'll probably just break my heart like every other of my sports teams does. But, whatever. I still love it.
I gotta say first, before we get started, big ups to you because you called the Kansas City game. And I'm going to tell you something. I in no way did I see it being that kind of game. And you saw it, and you called it. So I got to give you big ups on that one.
Thank you. But bring this full circle here. Later on today in the show, I'm going to be joined. We're going to do a guest segment with Sean Salisbury. And the reason I picked the Chiefs actually kind of goes back to him and I. We used to watch film together. I worked together with him on a radio show. We used to do a podcast together. We worked together for a long time. And a big thing that Sean taught me is in really big games, when you have two really evenly matched teams, or it's a playoff game, Super Bowl, whatever. He said, always go with the quarterback that is a better passer from the pocket, the quarterback that is just better throwing it up in the air. And I know people say Lamar Jackson is really good from the pocket, whatever. But in my opinion, and I think most people's opinion, Pat Mahomes, he's just on another level right now. So for that reason and that reason only is why I did that. And thanks to Sean, I was right. And hopefully you guys won some money. I know I won some money this weekend. The Falcons might have blown a couple of my parlays, but it's okay. It's okay because I came out on top. So this week, we're going to try to do it again for you guys and make y'all some money, okay? First, we have to discuss what I've been dreading the whole morning prepping for the show. We're going to discuss my Atlanta Falcons and how they blew yet another lead to this time the Chicago Bears. And it wasn't just the Bears, Jeff. It was Nick Foles. Nick Foles broke my heart. The Falcons broke my heart again. They blew another lead. Look, I don't even want to get into it. Okay, everybody knows I now have to get a tattoo of. I lost a huge bet, and I always hold my word whenever it comes to bets. I've had to do some stupid stuff in the past. Now I have to get a tattoo. It was supposed to be a tattoo of Ludacris. Are you familiar with Ludacris? Okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Great rapper. Not somebody you want to get a tattoo of his face on you. But I don't know what's worse, because the guy that I made the bet with, yesterday, he contacted me and he said, look, if you don't want to get a tattoo of Ludacris's face on your body, I will give you this one option. You can get 28-3 tatted on you. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's worse. But anyways, I digress. Jeff, you're a coach. You know what's really going on. What did you see with the Falcons and the Bears?
Well, I think there's a couple things at play, Rach. When you are in Atlanta's situation, and it's happened, if you've been in this business long enough, it happens to everybody. It's a psychological thing on one hand, where it's like you're ahead, then they start to come back, and it's, oh my God, here it comes. No, not again. And it's like an energy on the sidelines that becomes all negative. And that's really, really, really difficult to fight against. Now, what I saw in the game that really, Dan Quinn, if he's going to keep that job in Atlanta, he's got to get it under control. You've got Raheem Morris and Dirk Cutter, his two coordinators, and they've got to be working together to finish the game. Some things happened in the game that put the defense at risk. Number one, Brady Jarrett's down. Keanu Neal's down. Two of your best players are down in the fourth quarter. You can't help that. But what you can help is now offensively, you can call the game to help your defense. They go 2 drives and go 3 and out, pass, and use 20 seconds off the clock in both drives. That puts your defense at risk, gets the ball back for the Bears. Possession of the football is the most important thing when you're ahead in a game. And they didn't play together. We call it complementary football, where the offense, the defense, and the special teams complement one another. New England does it better than anybody. And they didn't play complementary football. And I'll tell you what happens in this business. And this is, people are going to say, wow, but it's true. There are only 32 head coaching opportunities in the National Football League. And so guys fight for those things. And it's a nasty business. Let's be honest about it. Raheem Morris has had a chance and failed. Dirk Cutter's had a chance and failed. If Quinn gets fired, one of those two is probably the most likely guy to take over the Falcons for the rest of the season. And then he's got basically an audition for the head coaching job, right? Yeah. So it's really a tenuous situation. I'm sure that staff room is really, really an interesting psychological laboratory right now, because you don't get very many chances. And now those guys need to work together, not be working against one another to kind of prop themselves up so that Arthur Blank and Dimitroff and the guys in the front office go, okay, if we fire Quinn, who do we hand it to? Right. And so it's a tough situation. They've got to be a better football team and less of an offense and a defense.
Ooh, that's a great point. I hadn't even thought of it, but you're dead on with the complementary football. Now, everybody in the league that started 0-3, I know I live here in Houston, the Houston Texans want him, Atlanta Falcons fans, and I'm sure every other team that's down right now, everybody wants Eric Bieniemy, right? Everybody wants Eric Bieniemy to be their next head coach. With that being said, last year, okay, going back to Super Bowl 51, right? Dan Quinn's the head coach. You blow a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. Then just fast forward to last year, right? The team starts off, I think it's 1-7 the first 8 weeks, right? Bye week happens, and they get Trufant back from injury. Oddly enough, I felt like there was a correlation here. And then the team goes 6-2 to finish out the season, and they look great. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Saints. Now the season's starting off again like this, blowing leads once again. Jeff, if you're a head coach, or if you're on this coaching staff, how the hell, what can you do to mentally pull the team out of this funk of blowing leads? Because a lot of this has got to be mental, right? Because on the field, you're seeing these flashes of greatness, especially offensively. The talent has to be there. What is happening to them mentally to blow these leads? Well, how do you coach them out of it?
I think the thing is, first of all, you got to address the 10,000-pound elephant in the room. And you got to talk about it. You got to say, hey, fellas, we're better than this. We've proven we're better than this. And we've got to just play loose and play free. If you start to tighten up, and that's what, again, you see happen to them. The play callers tighten up. The players start to tighten up. It's an infectious thing. And it's about teams take on the personality of the head coach. They take on the personality of the coaches. It's so important that you come into this thing and say, hey, listen, guys, we've been through this before. Look at last year. Atlanta's got a lot of good football players, right? They need to get a win to get them started. And, again, getting a win sometimes is nothing more than just taking this play and play this play. Don't worry about last week. Don't worry about 3 weeks ago. Don't listen to the noise. All that. It's great. What we get to do for a living, all the talk shows, all the newspaper stuff, all the internet, but it creates this incredible amount of noise on the outside that it's really difficult to shield your players from. So the best thing, in my opinion, is address it and then just cut it loose and play.
I like that. I also like the idea of, you know what, let's just move on. I think everybody needs a change of scenery, and I'm all about our first number 1 overall draft pick. Trevor Lawrence can sit behind Matt Ryan and grow and develop under Eric Bieniemy as the head coach for like the next 2 years, and then he'll get a start, and everything will be great here in Atlanta, or there in Atlanta. All right, that's what I'm thinking. But anyways, great insight by you, Jeff. Thank you so much for that. I love your perspective as a coach. Can't get it anywhere else. So we're going to move on and just talk about real quick about how we did with our picks last week. Jeff, you were correct about the Bills beating the Rams and taking the over in that crazy controversial roller coaster of a game. We both nailed the Seahawks beating the Cowboys, because what do Cowboys do? They break your heart.
Yes,
but we both nailed that one. And the Seahawks, we had them covering, and they covered with a couple of points to spare. And we were both right about Ben, our producer's favorite team, that bad man Aaron Rodgers and his Packers beating the Saints. I also, as we mentioned earlier, I chose the Chiefs in the over. But yeah, overall, we were way more up than we were down. And we all know that the real money in gambling is with the parlays. And our Pickswise parlay landed for a second week in a row, baby. Seahawks money line, Bucks money line, and the Steelers against the spread. We were right. So let's go, Jeff. You're a badass. So we're going to start our preview of week 4 and our never-ending quest to help you, the viewer, get plenty of money. We're going to start off with the Colts. The Colts are favored by 2.5 over the Bears. Okay, now the Bears, they benched Mitchell Trubisky for Nick Foles, and he came out, and I think it was the third quarter last week. He threw 3 touchdown passes, looked fantastic. The Colts, well, they did what they should have done, and they beat the worst team in football. They beat the Jets 36-7. The defense had a huge game, and now the Colts are 2-1 in the AFC South. Jeff, with Nick Foles being named a starter against the Bears, has that changed your opinion on the Bears this season, and do they win this game?
All right, let's just start with, there is no team in the National Football League, even Kansas City, that's not flawed in some way. Every team has issues, right? That's just football. But the Bears have specific issues, and I think Nick Foles has given them one thing that they've lacked, and that's confidence in their offense's ability to score points, right? I'm going to tell you this, Rachel, that you can bet, and I mean you could bet this if you could get it as a prop bet, that Matt Nagy has wanted Nick Foles since the offseason. He's the one that wanted him. Their coaching staff has history with him. They want him to be the quarterback of that offense. The general manager drafted Trubisky. And so Trubisky was going to be the guy unless he just totally screwed up. Well, there were no preseason games, so he didn't have a chance to screw it up. Now, what we saw in 3 games is that Trubisky's Trubisky. Foles is the guy they want running that offense. Now, the great thing if you're a Bears fan is you're 3-0, and you didn't have to lose a game to get a quarterback change. So there's a lot of real positive momentum in that room, in that Hallis Hall where their training facility is. But you lost Tariq Cohen last week, and that hurts. Now, they're trying to get Darnell Mooney, their 5th-round draft choice. They're getting him more playtime all the time because they think he can be a big-time threat. But the running game's going to suffer a little bit, and the return game's going to suffer because Tariq's a great punt returner. Foles, I think, does a better job managing the offense. He can see things that Trubisky just couldn't see on the field. I think he gives Nagy a better comfort level. But again, this Bears defense. Now, Todd Gurley is a great player and was a tremendous player, but he's not the Todd Gurley of old. And they had trouble stopping the run against Atlanta. What's helped their run defense is that they've gotten ahead in some games, and but I think that's a big key in this one. And Indianapolis is going to come at them with an offensive line that is nasty. Quentin Nelson doesn't want to block you; he wants to hurt you. And You got Ryan Kelly, who should be a Pro Bowler, and you got Anthony Costanzo, who should be a Pro Bowler. So Hicks and Khalil Mack in that front for the Bears got their hands. I mean, they got their work cut out for them. I think it's really an interesting game. I'll be honest with you. I do like Indianapolis in this one in a close game. But again, I think it's the Bears are a little bit. Now, it's hard to say this about a 3-0 football team, but I think the Bears are a little bit of a soft 3-0 when you look at the schedule they played. The Lions have won one game. Atlanta has won no game. So, again, it's not like they've been up against tough competition each week. Indianapolis is a much better football team.
Yeah, Indianapolis, they have the continuity of being together this long, whereas Nick Foles, I mean, you know, in the offseason, I think we all thought Nick Foles was going to be the starter of the Bears. It kind of surprised me that they went and picked up his contract from Jacksonville not to start him. But there must have been some conflict in the back office, I think, between the GM and the head coach. Regardless, I got to go with the Colts just because of the continuity. I think the team is getting better and better as the season progresses. They are one of the most well-rounded, most well-built teams, rosters that I can think of. I got to take them at 2.5. I mean, it's basically a pick 'em, but yeah, for sure. Nick Foles, he does give a team. I mean, you saw what he did in Philadelphia. It's undeniable. As one of his teammates, I'm assuming that you see him come in and you're rejuvenated because that dude seems to inspire players better than a lot of other people can. But I'm still going with the skill and the talent and the coaching. I think a lot of Frank Reich. It's definitely Colts to cover 2.5. Now the point total I think is set at 47. Forgive me for not being sure of that. But if it's 47, how do you feel about that? Too high, too low?
Well,
44. It's 44.5. 44.5.
It's amazing, Rachel. Right now, when you look back, I counted 12 teams, and I think it ended up being 14. Teams in the National Football League last week scored 30 points or more. 14 of 32, half of the league basically scored 30 points or more. So in the past, you know, anytime the Bears were playing, you'd say anytime it's an over-under over 40, that's too many, right? But right now, I still would go under here. But I think we're going to have to rethink how we look at the over and under in this NFL. Because one of the things that's contributed to it, and everybody's talking about why. If you notice, the officials are only calling really flagrant holds and really flagrant fouls. And so it's opened up the offenses even more. And so you got to be really cognizant of that when you start thinking about the over and under spread.
Okay, I like your reasoning on there. These are two really good defenses. Even though the Bears, they did struggle against the run, it's still a really good defense. I just kind of feel it in my gut a little bit. I'm going to take the over here, but just barely. And I know that the Colts, they lost Marlon Mack, but they got the rookie that they drafted in the first round, Jonathan Taylor. And they have some other players around him that can run the ball as well. I think they're going to successfully run the ball. You know that Rivers is going to put it up in the air, and he's a gunslinger. And I think that Nick Foles, with getting the new start, I think he's going to come out there and kind of shock some people. I think that the Colts are kind of going to look at this and maybe struggle a little bit initially on because they're not really sure how to defend somebody that they don't have this much film on with his new team. So I'm going to take the over in that. We both take the Colts, the favorites, to cover 2.5. And that is that. Guys, let us know what you think. Can Phillip Rivers get it done? Or is it Nick Foles season all over again? Let us know in the comments below. All right, Jeff. At 4:25 p.m. Sunday afternoon in a small city somewhere out in a Midwestern cornfield, 2 Hall of Fame coaches are going to take the field. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Patrick Mahomes versus Cam Newton. The Mahomie versus Superman. Who will come out victorious?
Say,
you feel that,
girl? Speak it.
Look, all of my silly theatrics aside, the Chiefs are favored by a touchdown, and the over/under point total is set at 54 points. Damn, that's high. All right, let's talk about the Chiefs first. They're the best team in the league. I know it. You know it. Now the Ravens know it. because Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they toyed around with the Ravens defense all night. They won the game convincingly. In fact, I think they left some points out on the field. Mahomes became the fastest quarterback in history to reach 10,000 passing yards in just 34 games. Now, the Patriots they play very differently. Okay, their offense is very, very different. But hey, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? New England, they got it done against the Raiders on the ground with Sony Michel. He had over 100 yards, and Rex Burkhead, he ate 2 touchdowns. Now, look, the Chiefs, they are 11-1. They're on an 11-1 streak against the spread right now. Jeff, I think that this game could be better than Vegas thinks, simply because these two coaches, they know each other. They know each other well. They're both really, really good. And no one's going to scheme up the game better than the great offensive mind in Andy Reid and the great defensive mind in Bill Belichick. What do you think, Coach?
Well, I think you're exactly correct. And I love your energy about this game, because if there is a game to get fired, I mean, we talked about Baltimore last week and what a great game that was supposed to be, and it turned into a blowout. This one, I think, is even more of an interesting matchup because of the quality of the two coaches. Andy's a genius on offense. He's got weapons all over the field. Belichick loves to coach defense. That's how he came up in the league. He's got a great secondary. So the strengths of the two teams really offset each other. I think that the interesting thing about this one is Kansas City's defense under Steve Spagnuolo is like Rodney Dangerfield, the old comedian whose line was, "I don't get no respect." They don't get any respect. They played their asses off against Baltimore. Baltimore came in there and they were rolling, and they made Lamar Jackson look like he was confused, like he didn't know where to go with the ball. They gave up some yards in the run game, but you're going to give up some yards in the run game to Baltimore. But I'm going to tell you, their defense is nasty, and they will do whatever it takes. They had 30% of the plays in last week's game. They had 11 guys within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. They have so much confidence in their ability to cover that, they're going to just put more guys up there than you can block. Now, Interesting when you look at New England. Where is the weakness in New England? To me, it's still unproven wide receivers. They don't have a dynamic tight end. Edelman is Edelman. He's going to get you 7 or 8 catches a game, but they're going to be for 80 yards and maybe 1 touchdown. They don't have a game breaker at wide receiver. So I'm going to give Kansas City the edge on this. They are a much more balanced team. You can bet Dave Tobe will get this kickoff coverage fixed after they got scorched last week by Baltimore. I love Cam Newton. I'm really happy for him that he's playing at the level he's playing right now. But right now, and go back to what Sean talked about, it's all about the quarterbacks in this league. You got the best quarterback in the game right now who's playing with ultimate confidence, a track team of receivers. And like Belichick's favorite thing to take tight ends away is just vice them. Put 2 guys on the line of scrimmage and beat them up. You're not going to do that to Kelsey because Andy's not going to let you. They're going to be in so many formations, and Eric Bieniemy is going to dial up all kinds of motions and different misdirection plays. So I'm going to take Kansas City in this one. And again, silly to say it, but like 54, I can't go over 54. I mean, if this is my week, I'm just going to say it. If they go over 54, then I'm going to say I'm looking at the over in a whole nother way. Because as a guy that's studied the NFL for 30 years, 54 was like, man, somebody must have had a plane crash coming to the game and lost their whole defense to have a 54-point over and under.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the Chiefs, I think, make a lot of teams feel. Like their whole entire defense must have gotten to a plane crash and injured themselves before the game. No, I'm right here with you on this one. The Chiefs are going to win it, but I think it's going to be a better game than we think, just because the Patriots secondary, that bend don't break. I'm going to call it right now. Prop bet, whatever you want to call it. There will be a Pat Mahomes turnover. There will be an interception, but. And then they'll keep it tight because I just cannot picture a Bill Belichick coach team getting blown out. But I think 1 touchdown is a pretty good. Vegas knows what they're doing there with that. look, the one thing other than the secondary for the Patriots as a strength that I see in this matchup is what the Patriots did last week with Rex Burkhead on the ground getting 2 touchdowns, and then you had Sonny Michel go for over 100 yards. If the Chiefs defense has a weakness, I mean, their secondary is really good too. If the Chiefs defense has a weakness, it's that you can run the ball a little bit on them. I'm kind of surprised that the Ravens didn't do more of that Monday night. But with that being said, it's the Chiefs, and I'm not really sure who is going to beat them this year at all. So we're in agreement with that. As far as the point total goes, though, you are 54 is just way too high for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't as good. Like Bill Belichick's in this game, right? Bill Belichick is in this game, right? And he's got the McCourty twins. He's got good guys in the back end. But on the other hand, I think about it, Rachel, the Kansas City Chiefs took the Baltimore Ravens, which has one of the top 3, 4, 5 defenses in the league, and had 500 yards of offense. That's a half a thousand, right? So
yeah.
But I still got to say I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under as well. It's going to be a lot of good defense in this game, as well as a lot of offense. I'm stoked about this game. This is going to be a fun game. Now looking at it in week 4, I'm so much more excited about this game than I was if you would have asked me in the preseason. So just to wrap it all up, summarize this matchup, you and I are both taking the Chiefs to win by at least 7. They're definitely going to cover, and we're taking the under on the point total in this game.
You got it.
All right, guys, let us know what you think. Is it Superman season, or is it going to be Patrick Mahomes doing what we're used to seeing him do at this point in time? Let us know in the comments below what you think. Okay, Jeff, on to Sunday Night Football, this primetime matchup, right? Yeah, that's what I thought it's supposed to be. We have San Francisco versus the disgustingly underachieving Philadelphia Eagles. I wish that the NFL would flex this game, but whatever. You know what makes any game interesting? Betting on it. So let's do this. San Francisco is favored by 7, and 45 points is the total as of today, which is Wednesday. The 49ers crushed the worst team in the NFL last week, the New York Giants. Nick Mullens, he was impressive. And if you follow me on Twitter, you would have known that. I tried to tell y'all that he's a really good backup. He went through for 343 yards and a touchdown, and the Niners did not punt, not once. The Eagles, well, they're gutless. They didn't play to win their game against the Bengals. Instead, they settled for a tie, went through 2 interceptions against one of the league's most porous defenses. And frankly, he's playing the worst football we've ever seen him play in his entire career. He has the fewest yards per attempt out of all quarterbacks. Jeff, what the hell is wrong with Philadelphia in the NFC least? I mean, whoops, I'm at the NFC East. Someone's got to win, right? Could it be Philly?
You smell that? You
yeah.
Smell that? You smell that's that rotten, stinking, nasty defense football that the Eagles been playing.
Oh,
it stinks.
Yeah,
it stinks. They stink. They had the Bengals. They have Bengals. We're not talking about the pay. We're talking the Bengals.
The Bengals.
Play for a tie.
Yep.
Now, Doug Peterson was our quarterback in 1995, and I love the guy. But I'm going to tell you something. He's feeling the pressure. Because when you make that, this is the same guy, Rachel, that ran the Philly special on the goal line against the Patriots to win a Super Bowl. Doug, what happened to your huevos? Where did they go? It's 4th and 1, my brother. You got to go for it to win. You're going to tell your players that you have faith in them by going for it. You're in the East. There have been 2 wins in 3 weeks out of all the teams in the East. Even if you lost, you can. It's not out. I mean, it's not like somebody's running away with the division. So I look at that. I look at that decision. I just go, come on, man. Doug, you're my guy, but I just don't understand. They are not very good. Let's face it, not very good. And there's 2 teams you want to play when you're bad. One is the Jets, and the other is Cincinnati. And you can't beat the Bengals. They got no shot against the 49ers. because the 49ers are starting to get healthy. Deebo Samuel's supposed to be back. You can say, and again, you called it. I'm going to say you called it. Nick Mullens is a lot better than people give him credit for. If you look at his resume, and it's not he doesn't have a great big body of work, but you got to dig into numbers and you say, the guy takes care of the football. He can get it to the receivers. The Niners are getting healthy. I think they will pound on the Eagles.
Yeah, I have a bad memory. This is well documented, but I seem to remember something like last year. I believe Nick Mullens came off or maybe it was the year before, but it was the first time I saw Nick Mullens play. They pull him off the practice squad. The guy comes in and throws like 3 touchdowns against Oakland, and I think 0 interceptions, and he had a couple yards on the ground rushing. Like, the dude is really good, and a lot of that goes to Kyle Shanahan. He's a great offensive mind, and his offense is very conducive to quarterbacks and protecting the ball, and they run it a lot, zone blocking scheme, all that good stuff, West Coast offense. It's fun to watch. But yeah, no, Nick Mullens, I knew he was going to come in and he was going to surprise some people, and he did just that. Wentz, even more surprising. Clearly, whenever they did what they did to play for the tie in last week's game, it is just more of a testament to me, in my opinion, they just drafted Jalen Hurts. Okay, this team has a lot of problems with it. A lot of problems with the secondary, wide receiver, protection for Wentz, their quarterback. And what do they do in the second round? They draft a quarterback. That tells you all you needed to know. But still, there was debate, and there's people arguing about it. This shows you everything you need to know. They played for the tie because the head coach does not believe in the quarterback. And I don't know what the hell's going on with Wentz, but they paid him a lot of money. Okay, and you talk about the defense. They have the highest paid defensive line in the NFL. And they're not generating the pass rush that they should be, and their secondary is still trash. So I don't know. I'm taking the 49ers and Nick Mullens. I don't care if the 49ers are playing with their practice squad. They're going to beat the Eagles, and that's what it is. So I'm taking the Niners. They're favored by, what do we have it on? They're favored by 7. And okay, so let's talk about the point total. 45 points. What do you think?
I'm going to take the over.
Really?
Yeah, there I go. Like, there I go, right? See, I was old school.
You're a wild man.
Now I'm going, hey, you know what? I just think that of that 45 points, 40 of it might be the Niners. Everybody talks all the time about how beat up the Niners are.
Yeah.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles are like a MASH unit right now, too. They have lost so many good players. And now you got to go from the West or from the East to the West. So you go in there on Friday because of the COVID deal. Well, your body clock, if it's a 1:00 game, your body clock's telling you it's 9:00 in the morning, right? And you're out there trying to win a football game. So that is tough travel. And you're hurt, right? D-Jack's not healthy. They lost Isaac Seumalo, the real good young guard. I mean, I don't know who Jalen Reagor breaks his thumb. He's gone for I don't know how long. So, who they got. And your quarterback is struggling with confidence. And, I watched him warm up before the game, and I knew they were in trouble because there's when a guy's got it, he's got it, right? And then there's other guys who trying to fake it to make it. And I was watching him warm up, right? And I'm telling you, his body language told me everything about a guy who is trying to talk himself into being confident as opposed to a guy who just got that swagger. Because you watch Pat Mahomes, he knows he is, right?
Yeah.
I watched Wentz warm up, and I thought, man, that guy's trying to talk himself into being one of them. And that's a big difference.
Yeah, that's really sad because he is very talented. He's a lot more talented than I ever thought he was going to be whenever they drafted him. But he's got a lot of talent. I don't understand where the regression is. But, if the dude needs confidence, if confidence is going to help him, well, he sure as hell didn't get it from his head coach last week. So I don't know. But it is what it is. San Francisco, we both have them winning by 7. They're going to cover their 7-point favorites. And you're taking the over. I think I'm going to go with the under on this one just because I think the 49ers will get off to 45. 45. 45.
Listeners, go with Rachel. Take the under. I'm taking the under again. You talked me out of it.
I talked you out of it. I talked the coach.
You talked me out of it.
Wow. See, I have my confidence. I don't know where Wentz is at, but I got all the confidence right here. I love it. I love it. So take the under just because I think the 49ers are going to get out to a solid lead, and then I think they're going to feel safe, and I think they'll just run the ball and eat up the clock. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Now, real quick before we move on to the next game, what are the chances? What are the chances that we get to see Jalen Hurts in this game?
Well, I think in order for Hurts to get in the game, Wentz is going to have to be hurt. I really do believe that. I think that they know that right now Wentz gives them the best chance, and his confidence is shaken. If he throws a couple picks early and he starts to get hit around, they may get him out of there and give Hurts some reps. But if you give Hurts some run, what you're saying to your franchise quarterback is, you better look over your shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a real dicey thing. Really interesting because Howie Rossman's getting ripped, and I mean ripped for exactly what you talked about, and didn't improve a roster that people thought was, these guys are outsiders for they're dark horse Super Bowl kind of team, and you go out and draft a quarterback in the second round. Now he's standing on the sideline. You got a second round pick standing on the sideline, and your first round pick's hurt. That's not good.
Yeah, it's not good, and he does get ripped, and no fan base will rip a general manager or head coach more than Philly will. Okay, those are the craziest, most passionate fans I've ever seen. But to wrap this one up, really look. Actually, I'm earlier I said they should flex this game. No, I'm excited to see this. A lot of stuff could happen in this game. So if you have $100, me and Jeff are telling you, 49ers, they're going to cover 7. And I know that on some other websites and other sports books, the line has kind of shifted to 5.5.
If you lock it in, if you get that one, lock it in.
Lock in that one for sure. I still feel really confident about them covering 7 as well. And we both are taking the under in this one, 45 points. Okay, so let us know what you think. Are we going to see some Jalen Hurts, or is Wentz going to get it done? Nick Mullens season. What's up? Let us know in the comments, guys. All right, Jeff, it's our third game in a row where the home team is favored by a touchdown as of Wednesday. That's today when we're filming. As the Packers open up as a touchdown favorite over my Atlanta Falcons, Monday Night Football. The point total is set at almost 60 points. The point total is set at 57.5 points. Wow. Now the Packers, they are undefeated. They sit 3-0. Aaron Rodgers, he's playing like an MVP with or without Devontae Adams. It doesn't matter who you throw out there for him. He's playing lights out right now. Now, Dan Quinn and the Atlanta Falcons are coaching for his life. The team puts up points with the best of them, with or without Julio. I think Russell Gage is actually going to be out of this game as well. Julio has missed practice this week. Doesn't look like he's probably not going to play this weekend either. But anyways, point being, Matt Ryan's really good. He can put up points with the best of them. But the defense, the Atlanta Falcons defense, they couldn't stop my grandmother. I'm convinced my grandmother could get 22 yards and a touchdown on him. Okay, Jeff, the Packers, they're favored by a touchdown. Can the Falcons pull off an upset here? They've done it to Green Bay before. Is it feasible? Is it reasonable to think that the Falcons could pull off an upset or at least cover?
Is it feasible? Is it reasonable? Is it possible? No to all those. And I'm going to say this, I'm actually shocked that, especially with the Falcon injuries at wide receiver, I'm actually shocked this is a 7-point spread. This is in Green Bay. And we watch Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers right now is as good as I've seen Aaron Rodgers in a long time. If you look at him statistically, his quarterback rating, all of his completion, yardage per completion, yardage per attempt, all of those things are better than they've been in the last 5 years for Aaron Rodgers. He is playing at an extremely high level. They protect him well. I'm going to tell you something. That Aaron Jones he's a nasty running back. And Lazard kind of came to the fore last week when he had to function as the wide receiver 1. If they get Devontae Adams back for this one, I think it'll be a blowout. But I certainly think that Green Bay will win, and I think Green Bay will cover in this.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even know if I want to touch this game, period. This is one of those things where I don't know if it's just because my bad luck as a Falcons fan or if it's just my luck in general. I don't know. But I feel like this is one of those games where maybe because everybody's so down on the Falcons that somehow this is a game where Matt Ryan just throws for 450 yards and 4 touchdowns, and somehow that's enough to at least cover and come close. But I'm going to be smarter than that, and I'm just going to go with what science is basically telling us. Green Bay, they're going to cover because, like I said, the Falcons defense can't stop my grandmother. But let's focus more on the point total here. Okay, what do you think about 57.5 points in this game? Is that ridiculous?
Now, now, if you look at it statistically, you'd say, no, it's not ridiculous. It's just that when you look at these two football teams, both of them have shown that they can score points. I would not touch that, though, because now you're talking about, Rachel, we're almost at the point of saying, 30. It's going to be a 30-something to 30-something game. Now, it may turn out that way, but historically, when you start getting up around 60 as the over and under, we're talking about those are Big 12 games. Those are college football games.
Yeah,
not pro football guys, because even in Atlanta, those are proud guys. Grady Jarrett's a proud guy. Neal's a proud guy. They got guys that have been around and done a few things in their day, and they're being ridiculed in the paper every day. You talk about shutting out the noise. There comes a point where you can't shut it out, right? So they're being told how garbage they are, how they can't do this, how they can't do that. I think they'll be better than the Cowboy defense was, because the Cowboy defense was horrendous against them. But I just can't. It's so hard for me to say over 58 points to cover. I don't know.
Well, I'm looking at the how much both of these respective teams have put up in all of their games. Okay, the Falcons hover around 30. They're probably averaging 33. I think they're averaging 33 points a game right now. They scored 25 on the Seahawks, 39 on the Cowboys, and 26 on the Bears. And then you look at the Packers, their offense is putting up insane points, right? 43 points on the Vikings, 42 points on the Lions, and 37 points on the Saints. So you know what? And these are both clearly offenses that can put up a lot of points. The Packers, they don't have the best defense in the league. I trust them a lot more than I trust the Falcons defense. The Falcons ain't stopping nobody. I actually am going to say take the over in this, because I could see this being a 42, like the Packers score 42 and the Falcons score 32 or 33. Like, I could totally see that happening. I can't look at this and think of a reason not to. So I'm going to take the over in this one. So just to summarize here, we're both taking the Packers to cover. They're favored by a touchdown right now. They're favored by 7 on some sports books. 6, I'm seeing 6.5 on some other ones. Take them for sure. But the point total, 57.5. Jeff is saying go with the under. I say take the over. So I can't wait whenever it's all said and done to go back and look at this. And right now is your final moment, Jeff. Have I changed your mind? Have I convinced you on this one too?
I tell you what, you got me teetering. Right on that edge. But you know what? I can't. I'm gonna step back from the cliff. I'm gonna step back from the ledge. I'm gonna step back from the window.
No, come with me. No. Come on.
I'm gonna say no, because like I said, I get it, and you're right. If you just break it down from a scientific standpoint, but man, I just think that there's too much pride in football players. There's too much pride in Atlanta. Too much. Dan Quinn is loved by. You can say what you want about his coaching, but one thing is for sure: his players enjoy playing for him, and they know his ass is on the line. And so I think that they'll give their best effort. It won't be enough to win the game, but I think it'll be enough to keep it under. There's 58 points.
Yeah, well, definitely, if you love offense, watch Monday Night Football this week. Packers, Falcons, it's going to be a shootout for sure. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. Is 57.5 too much? Am I crazy? Is Jeff crazy? Who's crazy here? And who's going to win the matchup? Let us know. We want to hear your voice. Okay, Jeff, before we move on to our parlay, let's talk about Thursday Night Football. Denver's rocking a 3-point advantage against the New York Jets. Denver has come out saying that Brett Rypien, he's going to start under center for them. Meanwhile, Sam Darnold, he's trying to prove that he isn't a bust. Jeff, what do you see, if anything, going down in this matchup?
Well, I'm really anxious to see Brett Rypien play. He played at Boise State, had a great career at Boise State, has a lot of the qualities that you look for in a quarterback. This is a big, big game. You talk about coaches on the hot seat right now. It's getting warm in Denver, and they've hit the injury bug too. I get it, but I just really, you look at it and you say, Denver should be a better football team than they are. And right now they're just finding enough ways to lose football games. And, that can become a contagious thing too. So the Jets, on the other hand, are just flat bad. I mean, there's no way you can couch it. Sam Darnold has regressed. They can't score points. I mean, they really, really struggle to score points. The one thing about Vic Fangio is he can scheme you up on defense. And I think he'll be able to do that. The Jets play real good run defense, but they struggle sometimes. Rypien, I think, will get it going enough for him. I'm going to take Denver in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking Denver in this one too. Just 2.5-point favorites, and yeah, it's simple as that. The Jets suck worse than the Broncos do, and despite the Broncos' injuries, it's going to be Denver. Fangio's got him. All right, so now we're going to move on. We're going to build this is probably my favorite segment of the show, I think. We're going to build our Pickswise Parlay of the week. There's 3 games to you from us, and hopefully we're going to win you some money. We've done a fine job so far. Last week we won our parlay again. That makes 2 weeks in a row. So we had the Seahawks money line, Bucks money line, and Steelers against the spread all winning. And I'm going to kick us off with my pick. And the pick I'm going to go with is I feel really good about Cincinnati to get their first win against Jacksonville. It's in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow is, I think everybody agrees, he's going to be a good quarterback in this league. And each week he impresses me a little bit more and more, especially with the roster that he's dealing with. They are 3.5-point favorites against Jacksonville at home. And I think that they cover it. I think they're going to win by maybe 6 points. So that's just how I feel. Jacksonville's secondary and defense, not so bueno. Joe Burrow's going to light it up. What do you got?
I got one I'm going to take on a money line, and it's also one of the ones I would consider for my lock of the week. But Baltimore against Washington. Baltimore is going to bounce back big against Washington, but I'm a little leery of that 13.5. That's a prohibitive spread.
It's a lot.
So I'd stay away from that, but I would take Baltimore as a money line pick.
All right, you got Baltimore money line, and you get one more, Jeff.
Look out for my Rams. I tell you what, they are running the ball, and you don't think about Sean McVay and running the football the way that, some of the other teams, you look about Baltimore, you think about them. Sean McVay has got them running the ball better. They shredded, and I mean shredded, a good defense in the fourth quarter last week. They play at a tempo that's really hard to match. The Rams are going back to the West Coast. The Giants got to go all the way east. I'm going to take the Rams. I like them. I think they're a good football team, and the Giants are just struggling right now with personnel. Okay,
so this is money line, or this is against the spread? They're favored on my paper right here, 11.5. The Rams are favored by 11.5.
I'm going to take them at 11.5, and I know that's a big spread, but I just really, what I saw of them against Buffalo last week was really impressive. If the officials don't make a couple really bad calls, Buffalo doesn't win that game. And let me just say this, Josh Allen, his performance in that fourth quarter was inspiring. I don't know if Daniel Jones has enough weapons around him. There's no Stephon Diggs. There's no Cole Beasley. There's no, John Brown. There's none of those guys, right? Mm-hmm. There's no Tyler Kroft. There's none of those guys on his roster. And so I'm going to take the Rams.
All right. I like it. So just to summarize, so you guys know, so you can make some money with these picks. Parlay. I have got Cincinnati winning by 3.5. You can put the spread on that or just money line, whatever you want. Jeff has Baltimore money line, against Washington. And Jeff also has money line, and I think you said the spread, right?
No,
11 and a half is good.
I'd take the Rams, and I think that they will cover.
Okay. Rams covering 11 and a half point favorites. That's your Pickswise parlay of the week. Go against money and be sure to comment below and let us know how well we've done for you guys. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Now it's time for our Pickswise Underdog of the Week. And this is the part of the show where we choose a dog, as it's known in the betting community, but otherwise known as the team that just has all the odds stacked against them. Your selection, Jeff, the Chiefs, who were a dog last time, they won. So props to you on that one. And my dog was the Bengals, and they covered the spread against that horrible Eagles defense. Jeff, who are you going with this week for your dog of the week?
I'm going to take the dogs that are known as the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
And we're going straight dog pound in Dallas because when you look at Cleveland, what are their strengths? They got a great running game. They're figuring it out with Kevin Stefanski. They've got a great offensive line. Dallas can't stop the run. Dallas can't stop much, but they really can't stop the run. So when they get down to Dallas, I think they are going to give the Cowboys a serious dose of Chubb early and often, and they'll nullify the pass rush of the Cowboys. They'll go down there, and Dallas will score some points on them, but I think they're going to play keep away from Dak, and the Cowboys will go to 1-3, and Cleveland now, we're talking about the Browns, right? We're not talking about the Indians, right? We're not talking about the Cavaliers. We're talking about the Browns at 3-1.
Damn, I know in Cleveland they would love to see that. I feel for that fan base. I really do. And I love your pick. If I wasn't going to go with what I'm about to say, I was going to go with that one. So I love it. I'm going to go with Detroit. Detroit is 3.5 point or 4 point, depending on what sportsbook you're looking at, 3.5 point, 4 point underdogs to the Saints. Now, look, the Saints can put up points, but guess who else can put up points, especially as the season progresses and they get into a groove? Matt Stafford, he got his guy Kenny Golladay back, and that makes all the world of a difference for this team. So they got a win in a game that they were very large. They were very big underdogs last week to the Arizona Cardinals. They pull off the upset. Kenny Golladay, he gets a touchdown. I think he had a little over 50 yards. But he's getting back into the groove of things, okay? And Detroit, their secondary, it's not bad. I mean, they can create some turnovers. And Matt Stafford, he's not turning the ball over. So that's really important here. New Orleans, on the other hand, I don't know why it pains me to kind of watch Drew Brees throw the ball right now. He doesn't look the same. I know that they've came out and told everybody in the media that he's healthy, he feels fine. But what do we say about a woman's gut intuition a couple weeks ago, Jeff? We're never wrong, okay? I'm only wrong about the Falcons. Okay, that's it. But no, I feel like something is wrong there. Something's wrong. And like they lose the game to Green Bay last week because they try to get cute with Taysom Hill, and they're the most penalized team in the league, the New Orleans Saints are. So I think that Detroit covers 3.5, 4 points, whatever you want to call it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they flat out won the money line as well. But they're going to cover. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a funner game to watch than most people think. So just to wrap it all up, Jeff is taking the dog pound, the Browns at Dallas as 4.5 point underdogs. And I am saying go with Detroit, the Lions, to cover 3.5, 4 points to the New Orleans Saints. And that is your Pickswise Dogs of the Week. All right, Jeff, it's time for our Pickswise Lock of the Week. We're going to provide you our best bet for the NFL Week 4. And it doesn't have to be in the games we discussed. It can be the games we discussed. Doesn't matter. But we're gonna lock it in right here, okay? Now, Jeff, you won your selection last week. You had the Bucks covering 6.5, and mine was the Falcons. We all know what happened there. I don't need to go back to that again. So you're up on me on this one. You're up 2-1. Hopefully we can both win this week, and hopefully you, the viewer, the audience, the pickers, as I like to call y'all can win some money this week. All right. I'll go ahead and start off with my lock of the week really quick so that Jeff can have the floor. I'm going to go with Seattle at Miami. Now they're favored by 6.5, 7 points, depending on where you look. Doesn't matter. Regardless, you can take a money line. You can take them to cover. Russ is cooking. Miami, a team like Miami is just not going to beat them. It's just not going to happen. And that's it. That's all you need to know. Jeff, what you got?
Well, I tell you what, Rach, I lived in Vegas once. And when I was in Vegas, this old cat told me, he said, boy, scared money don't make money. Right?
Ooh, I like that.
I know that the Rams spread is big. So I'll give you two choices. You can lock that sucker away as a money line bet and then don't even turn on the TV because that's how strong I feel about it. Or if you want to make a little bit more money and you got a little more about you, then go ahead and take the Rams with the spread. But the Rams are going to beat the Giants.
I love it. I love it. So there's your Pickswise lock of the weeks. Jeff's got the Rams. He says you can take the spread or the money line. I got the Seahawks. Stick with the money line on this one. I don't know. 7 points is a lot. Miami can always throw some weird, shocking surprise in there. Just go with the money line. Parlay it up. It's damn near guaranteed money. Okay? Guys, thank you so much for watching. Jeff, thank you so much for being the awesome person that you are and giving us your very unique insight. Thank you for tuning in to the Pickswise NFL Show, Week 4 preview. We'll be on next week, of course, preview Week 5 of the NFL season. Guys, go make some money. Best of luck with your bets. And remember, gamble responsibly.